Hello, everybody. My name is Karen Chung. I'm the CEO and founder of Special Learning, and we have started a new series called SLP and ABA Collaboration Series. So collaboration is an area that's really been of interest of mine for a long time. Our company's been around for 8 years, and we really started to get into training and education about 5 years ago, and learning outcomes very quickly. Want to define the science behind speech-language pathology and the role of speech-language professionals working with children with autism and other things. Obviously, this just doesn't pertain to children, but we just refer to them because there's a huge overlap between speech and ABA when the kids are younger. To find the science behind ABA, applied behavior analysis and the role of behavior analysis.
Team building is an interesting one. Again, being able to collaborate even with your colleagues as speech pathologists, audiologists, and looking at that. And again, in terms of your practicum, peer relationships falls under there too, that professionalism, organizational agility, again, being able to think on your feet and change direction quickly, depending on what's presented to you in any session, especially in evaluation sessions. I think we don't necessarily know what's coming in the door, so we have to be very agile in being able to meet the needs of those individuals. And problem-solving perspective and creativity, and I think this is a nice component, as well as conflict management, to be able to facilitate the collaboration that we're looking to establish with behavior analysts and other professionals in the field, administrators, parents, all of the stakeholders that are involved in the treatment of the individuals that we're working with.
Such an interesting question. I loved hearing Jennifer describe the defined 9 core competencies, basic foundational repertoires that behavior analysts need to develop. So being able to build a team is incredibly important. It takes a village, right? We all agree about that. So being able to collaborate with your colleagues, engaging in active listening, smiling, nodding, eye contact, a bedside manner is incredibly important to be successful as a behavior analyst. If you walk in and you say, to a classroom teacher of 30 kids, you need to implement a token economy system, and you need to reinforce on a variable ratio, every 3 opportunities or about every 3 opportunities, the teacher will say, I have no idea what you're talking about, and you're not going to get any buy-in. So it's really important to be able to be on a team and be successful.
So, when I think about speech language pathology, we are so trained in form. So that's sort of the behavior that we need to teach, the form of the behavior. So that's what we teach. We are good at knowing what targets to pick. We have a really strong training in linguistics and a really strong training in language and speech production targets. We have a lot of courses in sounds and sound samples and grammatical form and formal properties of language. So when we're looking at shaping a particular behavior, this is how we start that.
There's so many parallels in what we do as behavior analysts from what Melanie and Jennifer just spoke so well to, and I love hearing about it because I see so much continuance. But the behavior analytic premise is, and this is what Melanie had talked about before with Noam Chomsky and B.F. Skinner. So B.F. Skinner talks about why the behavior is occurring, and Chomsky replied to talk about form. That's something great to really think about. But in behavior analysis, our main goal is at first to think of the function of the behavior, because as Jennifer spoke to in one of the previous slides, when we can identify what the function of the behavior is, we can focus our interventions on addressing that why of the behavior.
So we may allow our goals in speech language pathology to be more of a broader application. So, we kind of talk a little bit about receptive and expressive. We may not necessarily break it down to that specific repertoire like you might in behavior analysis. So a broader view of a goal, increased receptive, increased expressive language skills.
I think that's so important. In my experience collaborating with different disciplines, and in this case, particularly with speech language pathologists, I've seen SLPs with whom I've worked utilize strategies to teach different sounds, and I think that's wonderful. So if we, in my previous,
it's really hard for us as speech pathologists to sometimes teach our learners, and I think that we have a lot of great opportunities as speech pathologists to learn from our behavior analytic consults and collaboration on how we can be more effective in our targets. And I also think behavior analytic perspective can learn a little bit around, you know, certain aspects of shaping up echoics and other things. But overall, I think both professions have a lot of overlapping areas that could benefit from each other. I don't think this is a turf battle. I think this is a really clear way to kind of work together, show mutual respect.